You know that feeling when you read something that just hits you? It gives you chills or makes you laugh out loud, or paints a picture so real you feel like you're there. Well, it might feel like magic, but I promise you, it's not. It's craft. There's this whole hidden toolbox that writers use to build those feelings, and today, we're going to pry it open and see exactly how they pull it off.
Okay, check out this super famous line from Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky. Now let's be real, the words are pretty much nonsense. What's a tove? What does it mean to gimble? They don't have any dictionary definitions, and yet you still get a feeling from it, don't you? It sounds kind of creepy, a little slimy, definitely weird.
So that's the big question, right? How can words that literally mean nothing create such a powerful feeling? Well, it turns out there's a science to this art. There's a whole system working behind the scenes that writers use to shape our experience, and it goes way deeper than just what the words mean.
So here's the game plan. We're going to look at how words do more than just mean things. We'll open up that writer's toolbox and check out the tools for both the look of language and the sound of language. And then we'll see why this stuff matters and how it's being used on you every single day. The fancy name for the field that studies all this is stylistics, but don't let the name scare you. Just think of it as the instruction manual for that secret toolbox. It's how we can break down why certain choices an author makes have the effects they do on us. And here's the key thing about stylistics. It's not just about what is said, it's all about how it's said. It's like being a detective for language, using linguistic tools to figure out exactly how a piece of writing, whether it's a poem or a political ad, manages to pack such a punch.
Okay, so we can basically split this toolbox into two main trays. First, we've got the tools for our eyes, all the stuff that has to do with how text looks on a page. That's called graphology. Then we have the tools for our ears, how language sounds, even when you're just reading it in your head. And that's phonology. Let's start with what we see.
So first up is graphology. And I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's really just about how language looks. Before you even read a single word, a writer is already messing with your brain, shaping your experience with visual cues. Every choice is a tool.
And to help us get a handle on all these visual tools, we can break them down into 4 levels, thanks to a scholar named E.A. Levinston. We've got spelling, punctuation, typography, and layout. Just think of them as 4 different knobs a writer can turn to guide your eye and your mind.
Let's start with spelling. I mean, it seems super basic, right? But a tiny little choice can do a ton of heavy lifting. Say a writer uses an old-timey spelling like twixt instead of betwixt. Boom! With just one little tweak, they've instantly set a historical mood, and you feel like you're back in a different era.
Punctuation is another sneaky, powerful tool. I mean, imagine reading a really long sentence with no commas or periods at all. It starts to feel frantic, breathless, right? Or what about when a word is suddenly in all caps? It's like the writer is shouting that word right into your brain. These choices are never, ever random. They're controlling your pace and your focus.
And of course, there's typography. You know, putting a word in italics can make it feel like a quiet internal thought. Using bold makes it jump off the page. All these visual tricks are working on us before we even process the meaning of the words themselves. But that brings us to the other tray in our toolbox. What happens when we start to hear them? Okay, so let's shift gears from what we see to what we hear. This is where phonology comes in. It's the study of sound, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful ways to create a mood, because it often works on us almost subconsciously.
So writers can literally choose words based on how they sound. On one hand, you have euphony, words with pleasing, harmonious sounds. Think of soft sounds, like in lovely melody. On the flip side, you've got cacophony, which uses harsh, clashing sounds to create a jarring feeling. Just listen to the difference. Lovely versus sloppy. Melody versus crash. You can feel it in your teeth.
So beyond individual words, there's the music they make together. The most basic element here is rhythm, that natural rise and fall, the flow of our speech. It's really the linguistic heartbeat of any sentence, and it's what makes language feel alive. Now, meter is a little different. Rhythm just kind of happens naturally in how we talk. But meter is a deliberate choice. It's when a writer forces a strict, almost mathematical pattern onto the words, like a composer writing notes on a page. If meter is the blueprint, rhythm is how we actually experience walking through the finished building. Just listen to maybe the most famous example ever, to be or not to be. You can hear it, can't you? That steady beat, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. That is meter in action, and it creates a rhythm so powerful and memorable it's lasted for hundreds of years. And then, of course, we've got rhyme.
It's that phonetic echo, sure, but it does more than just sound nice. See, when our brain hears a rhyme, it automatically connects those two words. It creates these little links that can reinforce an idea, make a point stick, or even set up a great punchline.
And beyond basic rhyme, there are a bunch of other tools that add to the music. You've got alliteration, which is that repetition of the first sound in a word, like flash, flop, flounce. Then there's assonance, which repeats vowel sounds, and consonance, which repeats the final consonant sounds. Writers weave these together to create this amazing tapestry of sound.
All right, now for one of my absolute favorites, and probably the most fun tool in the box, onomatopoeia. This is where language gets brilliantly simple. It's when a word just sounds like the thing it's describing. It's a perfect little echo of its own meaning.
You know these words instantly. Buzz, sizzle, crash, thump, hiss, giggle. The word is the sound. There's no middleman. It's a direct connection from the page to your senses, and it's amazing for making writing feel immediate and real. This whole idea gets even wilder with something called sound symbolism. This is the theory that certain sounds actually carry their own meaning. For instance, think about words in English that start with flash, flick, fling, fly, flap. They all suggest some kind of quick, sudden movement. It's like the sound itself is acting out the meaning. So cool! So, we've looked at the tools for the eyes, the tools for the ears. But here's the thing. This isn't just for analyzing Shakespeare in a classroom. These stylistic tools are some of the most powerful instruments of persuasion and influence in the entire world.
And I mean, they're everywhere. A politician uses rhythm and alliteration to make a speech stick in your head because our brains are just wired to remember patterns. It makes the message feel more true, more emotional. A marketing team uses rhyme and a catchy beat to create a jingle you literally can't get out of your head. It is all a very deliberate, very powerful craft.
Because once you know this toolbox exists, you can't unsee it. You start noticing the craft behind everything. So the next time you read an article, listen to a speech, or even just see an ad, look a little closer. Listen a little more carefully. Now that you can hear the music and see the design, what new secrets are you going to discover hiding there between the lines?